Hello, I'm the Resolute Cartographer, and this will be the first in a series of more detailed and in-depth videos I'm going to make on game lore. I do have a day job, so unfortunately I can't focus all my time on these, but hopefully what I do make will be higher quality and more informative. In these videos, I'm going to assume that if there's something that's potentially canon breaking, that there's some information that we should assume, rather than assume that the developer doesn't know the lore of their own world. There are multiple instances in which this will be our guiding light in this video. These videos will sometimes contain quest walkthroughs, and sometimes not, depending on where and how the background information from which we construe the lore is contained. The following video covers the quest Wasted on Nukashine, content added with the Wild Appalachia update to Fallout 76 on March 13, 2019. It will start with a quest walkthrough, continue with an explanation of the new brewing and distilling system added by the quest, and conclude with a discussion of the lore, the individuals involved, and some of the more difficult to determine ordering of events. If you've happened to wander into a train station since March 13th of 2019, you might have noticed this poster. The Pie Moo's Wild Eviction Party poster. If you click on it, you can read it easier. Pie Moo's Wild Eviction Party, this Sunday. Pie House Party rules. Break stuff. Be wild. Trash hard, trash all. Chug, coma, puke, and rally. All are welcome. Formal attire is optional. No robots. P.S. Cops not invited. In parentheses, cops come equals every man for himself. This gives you a miscellaneous side quest direction to attend the frat party. If we check on the map, we can see that it's over here in Morgantown. So let's head there now. That map marker leads you here to Fraternity Row in Morgantown, where we'll be entering the Pi Kappa Mu fraternity first. And that starts us on the quest Wasted on Nukashine, which starts us on the objective of finding the dangerously potent beverage. We find an eviction notice on the table in the foyer. Eviction Notice, Vault-Tec University, Office of the President, to Pi Kappa Mu Greek Society. Dated October 20th, 2077. This notice serves as a final warning to vacate the premises of the Pi Kappa Mu fraternity house before all occupants are forcibly evicted by campus police. This action follows repeated infractions against campus policy, countless warnings, and a record-breaking 24 on our 10-point infraction scale. Attempts to disassociate Pi Kappa Mu from the university are futile at best, as the property is and always has been wholly owned by the university. Do not attempt to appeal this ruling. This action directly serves the best interests and quality of life of the neighborhood, and frankly the entire city of Morgantown. Infraction list. Current semester. Malicious destruction of campus property, repeated breach of anti-hazing policies, furnishing alcohol to minors, multiple fire code violations, multiple health code violations, disorderly conduct, failure to maintain proper lawn care, and failure to acknowledge eviction notices. As we enter the house, we can see the kitchen through a hole in the wall, and turning left we can enter the living room. Skeletons are all over the room, including one on top of a keg in the middle of the table, and there's party debris everywhere. There's also some interesting new artwork that's been added with this piece of content. Heading right, we can head into the kitchen, where there's a woman who seems to have fallen unconscious while playing beer pong. The kitchen is simply filled with debris. In the refrigerator we find silt bean soup, spices, and a lone beer. Heading back into the living room, either go up the stairs to the next level or downstairs to the basement. We'll go downstairs first. The basement is again a scene of complete destruction and skeletons. There's a pool table here with the icon of the fraternity. The amount of debris down here is truly incredible. There's a small stage with a banjo on it, and the head of the Vault Boy statue. Here in this small bathroom, there are two skeletons in here that seem to have died while partying hard. Across the main room, there's a door marked Pledges. When we open it, we can see it's a small laundry room with two bodies handcuffed to the pipes, one of which is still attached. There's a holotape near one of the bodies. Let's listen to it now.
It's been hours, days. Who the hell knows? I'm trapped. Starving, thirsty. Since everyone drank that goddamn drink. This was our final initiation. Me and my buddy Max over there locked in here for the party, and then we were golden. You know, just one last test. They passed out red cups at the end, so to celebrate. Called it Nukashine. Yeah. Dumped mine out when they weren't looking. Max here. He didn't. Everyone was, fine at first. Until they weren't. Oh, that sound, I will never forget that damned sound. I can't. Oh. Now I am stuck here. I'm stuck here with no food, water. Oh, and an old saw that won't cut through shit. Stuck here. Fellow Max Posey. I gotta think of something soon. Max, he's a swell guy, but getting a little sick of his company.
We head back out of that room, cross the basement, and go upstairs, still looking for whatever it is these partygoers were drinking. To our right we can see more skeletons. There seem to be 3 bedrooms. We'll start on the right one. We find 2 skeletons on top of a bunk bed and another on the ground with a bucket on his head. We head out into the right and we find another bedroom with a skeleton of a man wrapped around a mannequin, another skeleton on top of a bunk bed, and yet another skeleton on top of yet another bunk bed. And there's a note on top of this hamper called The Mannequin. Badger, you know I like you. The brothers like you too. You're easily my 4th favorite pie mew. But listen, the whole mannequin thing has got to stop. It was funny at first. We laughed along when you brought it home from the department store. I thought it was a little weird when you named it Susie and started taking it down to dinner, but whatever floats your boat, right? For the last few days though, honestly, Badger, I don't even know what to say. We called a meeting and all decided that Susie needs to... Damn it, you've got me calling the stupid thing Susie now. Look, just get rid of the mannequin. This is me asking nicely. Sincerely, John. From that, I think we can assume that this here is Badger and that John was someone on some sort of governing committee for this fraternity. Heading out into the hall, we can head to the right and we find another door. We find a bed and a desk with a terminal on it, and along with that, a glowing blue beverage. But let's read this terminal here first, called Ted's Terminal. Pie House, Ted Dorfman. Welcome to the personal terminal of Theodore Party Animal Dorfman. If you're reading this, it means you logged into my personal terminal. Don't do that. Messages. Stuff that people sent me. Reminder to self. Read it eventually. Their first entry is called Nukashine and is sent to Ted Dorfman from Judy Lowell, the chapter president of Eta Psi Epsilon Tau, a neighboring fraternity. Ted, could you please nail down the plans for transferring Nukashine to Pie House for your party? Lewis won't speak another word to me until I've scheduled a date, and he's the only one with the formula. By the way, that joke the Pie Mews were circulating about him got back to us. Not funny. His Nukashine is going to make your eviction party the event of the year, so no more cheap jokes at his expense, okay? The next entry is called Recommendation. Ted, I have some great news. Professor O has a job for me. She says I'm a good fit, but the intern application requires 2 peer recommendations. The other Charlie wrote me one, and I was wondering if you could write me one. You said writing isn't your best skill, but I think you're pretty good. I even try to write like you sometimes. Do you think you could say some cool words about me? I tried to ask in person, but you were always hungover. That's boss. I just hope you read this soon. Getting this internship would mean a lot to me and my mom. Thanks, Ted. There's a lot of sycophancy in that. Next. Oops. I forgot to include my name. Imagine me forgetting something that important on such an important request. Can't say that I haven't done something like that myself. Oops again. I forgot my name again. It's Charlie. That makes sense given that recommendation said he got another recommendation from the other Charlie. If you even care. Are you even reading these messages, Ted? I know you're not, yet here I am, still typing them up for you. So you know, I also typed up a recommendation for Charlie in your name. I joined Pi Kappa Mu because I wanted to make the most of my college years. And you guys know how to live it up, if nothing else. After blacking out 4 nights in a row, I realized that's all you know how to do. I'm no saint, but I care about the Pi Mus. I can't tell if you don't because you're a jerk, or because you're just too dumb. So I'm leaving. I'm gonna stop being selfish and try to do something good for the world. My humanities grade seems a good place to start. Enjoy your party. See you never, Daily. Next up, monthly newsletter, September of 2077. Pi Kappa Mu Greek Society monthly newsletter for September 2077. Greetings, fellow Pi Mu brothers. Here are your monthly updates. 1. The so-called authorities at Vault-Tec University have invented a bunch of totally false charges against us because they don't like how hard we party. So what does this mean to you? Absolutely nothing! We're trashing their notices and we have this great plan to totally not be involved with the school anymore. In a foolproof legal way. And we've basically owned the Pi House then. How cool is that? 2. Look, we all know the Ed Pets are total loser eggheads, but some of them are pretty cool too. Especially the ones that just opened this hot new speakeasy near campus. But they won't tell me where it is or how to get in until you guys stop being jerks to them. All of you. This means you too, Badger. It's moonshine made with Nuka-Cola. Don't mess this up for me. 3. Prank of the month. Last month we stole the head off the stupid Vault Boy statue on campus, and that really peeved off the man. Let's get creative this month. We were supposed to raid the Ed Pet house, but that's definitely not happening now. So drop some ideas my way. If your idea involves fire, keep it to yourself this time. That does it for this month, Pamus. And as always, party every day. Next up, bylaw amendment process. Greetings, brothers. Below, I have a few bylaw amendments to propose. I'm pretty sure we didn't have any bylaws before, so I'm amending that. We have a few of them now. I'm not sure he knows what amending means, but he could just be missing some punctuation there. Pi Kappa Mu bylaw amendment proposal. Amendment 1. Dues. We have to pay them now. I picked up the booze tab for the last 3 parties and it's really bumming me out. Amendment 2. No pranking other Pi Mus. We have plenty of people to prank out there without pranking our own people. Besides, we're too busy hazing our pledges to prank them on top of that. We're spreading ourselves too thin. Amendment 3. Inviting outsiders to official Pi Mu house events. This is generally allowed, but with a few ground rules. No eggheads, buzzkills, chemheads, mooches, or old people allowed. We're throwing a party, not taking a train to Squaresville. And it seems here that with Amendment 4 that he might not know what amendment means, because those Roman numerals are something that he should know are wrong. Amendment I, or 4, I suppose. No climbing on the roof. I thought this was also obvious, but you dummies made me put it in writing. Amendment 5. Copy more stuff from another frat's bylaws. This is more of a to-do than an amendment, I guess. All in favor? Come find me and say aye or something. All opposed? Keep it to yourself. Okay. So, let's grab this little beverage here called Vintage Nukashine. And let's take a look at this here. It says drink the bottle of Nukashine. But let's take a look at it before we drink it. And here we see it says, The Nukashine. It's your time to shine. 2076. Let's drink it. Wow, 30 rads and a Nukashine label added. 2 minutes to experience the effects of Nukashine and optionally clear out the party crashers. Whoa. There we go. Now, just 10 graceful seconds until we black out. And, here we are waking up from the blackout. What is that all about? Looks like we had a coven here. From the witch's hat. Let's see where we are exactly. Wow, okay. Yeah, we are a ways away. Somehow we managed to black out and wander all the way from Morgantown, and particularly Fraternity Row, all the way over here. Alright, so let's check out the Nukashine label in our inventory. Here we are. At our alma mater stands a boy, gray and cold. The steps behind him are the first threshold. Around the right corner, study the street. Just to the left is the place that we meet. There you can stain your skin with ink. But find the back door and we'll get you a drink. 2076. So it's a riddle so that we can find the Nukashine speakeasy that Ted Dorfman mentioned on his terminal. So we got to fast travel back to Morgantown. And specifically Vault-Tec University. Alright, so we've arrived at the university, and we can head over to the first point on this riddle, which is the part that says, "At our alma mater stands a boy, gray and cold." Oh! Gotta fight our way past the guardian mole rats. Let's take care of this guy first. Come on. Where up? Okay. Guardians dispatched. Let's solve this riddle. At our alma mater stands a boy gray and cold. The steps behind him are the first threshold. Yet another guardian. Oh. Around the right corner. Study the street. Now I guess we'll have to actually get to the street now that we've turned the right corner. Just to the left is the place that we meet. There you can stain your skin with ink. But find the back... Ooh. But find the back door. Ooh. But find the back door, and we'll get you a drink. So here we are at Big Al's Tattoo Parlor. And here at the back door we find yet another poster for the Pie Moo Wild Eviction Party. And we can head right in here. It says to Nukashine, 0 feet left. Alright, when we enter we can just check out this tattoo parlor because it's a new location in the game. We see here this area where they would actually have gotten the tattoos. There's a front desk with a terminal on it. We'll check that out in a minute. We got a storeroom and a small bathroom here in the back. But let's check out that terminal. Reception terminal. Big Al's Tattoo Parlor, reception. Big Al's advertising draft. Alice, here's what I have so far. I'm struggling here. Let me know what you think. Steve. Print advertisement draft 1. Need ink? Come to Big Al's Tattoo Parlor by campus and become a legend. See what decades of experience feels like being etched into your skin by award-winning artist Alice Big Al Lovelace. Print advertisement draft 5. Feeling down? The cure to your crippling depression is an award-winning tattoo. Come to Big Al's Tattoo Parlor and let Alice Big Al Lovelace save your life. Print advertisement draft 14. Come to Big Al's Tattoo Parlor by campus to get a nice tattoo. Also, now hiring part-time copywriter for print media. Apply within. Print advertisement draft 21. Something something Alice Big Al Lovelace something award-winning something. Big Al's Tattoo Place. Something get a tattoo please or I'm gonna get canned. Print advertisement draft 37. La 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 la. I hate my life. Memo. Cellar construction. Team, allow me to be frank. We've been struggling for some time now despite many attempts to advertise to locals and students. I've accepted that we don't have the budget to obtain the results we're after. Sorry, Steve, nothing personal. Fortunately, some enterprising youngsters from the university have approached me with an extremely lucrative offer. They'll be leasing out the cellar for an initial period of 10 years, providing me with enough income that I'll never have to work again. If you're wondering what they'll be selling down there, I don't know, and I don't care. Feel free to ask them yourself. I'll be in Tahiti. Alice Big Al Lovelace. P.S. Leave the new Nuka-Cola machine in the break room alone. Apparently it's not there for cola. Go figure. Alright. So that gives us a hint as to where to look for the Nukashine if we didn't already know from the fact that it says the Nukashine on the mat on the floor. Really not the best way to hide a speakeasy, folks. Although there is, interestingly enough, a camera up here on the ceiling that they must have been watching for who it is who would be trying to enter and perhaps even be able to lock down the machine when they saw authorities coming. Opening up this machine here.
Oh, so anyway, we didn't get to talk much. I'd like to tell him how swell I'm doing.
You hear a strange voice, so we can head down into the basement to figure out who it was. Let's see if we can't close this door. There we are. And we have the Nukashine. Beautiful little area down here. Now there is typically some interesting music playing here, but it is licensed music. Unfortunately, if you want to hear it, you're going to have to listen to it on your own. But we got some interesting drinks here on the board behind the bar. Drink menu: Old Appalachia, Premium Bourbon, Surkov Vodka, Rooster's Pure Old Rum, Visa Betha, Irish Whiskey, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Specials: the Nukashine Special, Moonshine with a Kick. Beer of the day: Pickaxe Pilsner. And we have a small bathroom over here. It seems to be a unisex bathroom. There's a stage here with a bass, a standing piano, and a snare drum. And so, let's go ahead and see if we can find out what that voice was. We can head back here through this small storeroom. Moonshine jugs and kegs all over the place. And we take a left and we enter the actual storeroom area, and we see a Robo-Brain named Bev. Let's talk to Robo-Brain. Bev.
You need to test? My imbibing chamber's always open. Excuse me there. I could, really use a hand, and you got more than just the one. Hi, I'm Bev. And Bev Orange is the #1 alcohol quality testing Robo-Brain in all of Appalachia. Well, this juice joint's premier drink, Nukashine, long overdue for a big quality test. Would you be a nice fella and whip me up a batch of Nukashine so I can do my job, please? I do have the recipe right here, but I think I might have sort of kind of dropped part of it in the locked supply room. Don't be me.
Alright, so we have half of a recipe. Let's check it out. Nukashine Ingredients Part 1. Top secret. Nukashine Ingredients.
Well, it must be my birthday.
5 corn, 5 razor grain, 5 wood for fuel, 2 boiled water, and 1 Nuka-Cola Quantum. Now there are multiple issues with this list right here, but we'll get to those later when we talk about lore. So, we need to find out though what the missing ingredient was from that list.
Very swelly. Does it smell like alcohol down here, or is it just me?
Probably both. Okay, so we got Distillery Supply Access Terminal. The Nukashine Distillery Supply Access. Private terminal. No access. Violators will be prosecuted. Restrictions. Supply room. To whom it may concern. As of now, access to the rear supply room is restricted to Lewis and I only. Nukashine continues to be a collaborative team effort between all pets, but now that we're a real business, there are some safety concerns and regulations that make it impractical to continue our open door policy. I love you all, but I'm going to have to insist on this. I need you to all be professionals and understand that this is in your best interests. I'm not at liberty to go into any more detail at this time. Thank you for your understanding, Judy. Next up, restrictions, Bev. To whom it may concern. Bev is a prototype robot Lewis brought in to help us with the Nukashine initiative. He can intake and metabolize alcoholic beverages. I'm not sure why metabolize is in quotes there. But anyway, there will be more instructions on how to use them in the future, but for now, please refrain from experimenting. More importantly, please do not tell anyone about him outside of the project. Again, I cannot go into more detail at this time, but I need your support on this. Judy. And last, security door control. Access denied. General access to supply room has been revoked. For details, contact Judy Lowell, Edda Sy House, 27315 Kelvin Street, Morgantown, West Virginia, 26501. Alright, so now we have a location to go to get the password, to get into that terminal, to open up the supply room, to get to the last piece of the recipe. So let's head back out and into Morgantown. When we get back to Fraternity Row, we just passed the Pi Kappa Mu house because there are more Greek societies here on Fraternity Row. We're specifically going to the Eta Psi Epsilon Tau house, but we're going to pass by a couple of other houses that you can't actually enter, including the Delta Sigma house, the Zeta X Theta house, and further up the street, we can see the Delta Tau Epsilon house. But here we are at the Eta Psi Epsilon Tau house with yet another one of these Pi Mu Wild Eviction Party posters, so let's head inside. We enter the Eta Psi Epsilon Tau house and we find ourselves in their laundry room. Next there's a garage that's full of brewing and chemistry equipment, and there's even a protectron here that belonged to the house.
Fermentation is a metabolic process that produces chemical changes in organic substrates through the action of enzymes.
And it provides you with scientific information. There's a small bathroom here on the right, and we can head over here to this door with a note on it that says employees only on the door and is a Nuka-Cola sign. And we can click on this note here that says we need to talk. Lewis, we need to talk. You're the smartest person I know. The Nukashine project would be nowhere without you, I know that. When you told us you needed a little extra space to think, we gave that to you, no questions asked. It's just, we thought you needed the space to think, not space to develop your hobby. Well, hobby's generous, it's more of an obsession at this point. Listen, every genius is entitled to their idiosyncrasies, but we could really use this space for pledges. I wish we could talk in person, but nobody knows how to find you these days. Please get in touch. I miss the old Lewis, the not crazy Lewis. Judy. So I guess we can assume that this is Lewis's room. Let's check it out, and there's a lot of Nuka-Cola stuff on the walls here. Okay, so we've got, looks like a version of, well, not every Nuka-Cola, but a lot of them. So let's grab all of these, because they're all fairly unique. Okay, let's just actually take a look at those beverages we just got. So we have Nuka-Cola, the original, Nuka-Cola Dark, which is an alcoholic beverage, Nuka-Cola Orange, which is the orange-flavored version of that. That uses pear-flavored brandy and arsenic, I believe, to make their flavor. Nuka-Cola Quantum, which has an isotope that makes it glow, which also is subsequently glowing when you pee it out. Nuka-Cola Wild, which is their root beer-flavored variety, intended to compete with Sunset Sarsaparilla out in the west. And Nuka-Cola Grape, the grape-flavored variety. Alright, so he had a very Nuka-Cola themed room here. He's even got Nuka-Cola cups on the ground and a Nuka World souvenir bowl here on the table, along with some caps. He's got a very interesting light here, which I wish we could loot because this thing really does look quite awesome. I love the way that it sends the logo around the room, but there is a personal log here that we can play.
Personal log. Timestamp 1120761344. My special edition Nuka-Cola lamp arrived in satisfactory condition. After a few modifications, I am greatly pleased. I clearly now have the greatest Nuka-Cola collection in the city. But I've pushed the capacity of this meager hovel to the limit. Solution. I need to procure a warehouse in Morgantown for further expansion. But first, I need the proper financial capital. I clearly need to strategize a successful commercial enterprise. University students are plentiful, but what do they want? Aha! Proposal. Students love alcohol, and I love Nuka-Cola. I shall formulate a high-proof distilled spirit with Nuka-Cola. The perfect beverage. It just needs a name. Nuka-Hall? Nuka-Mash? Nuka-Brew? I'll get to that part later.
So it seems that this entire initiative was just a way for Lewis to get more money in order to purchase a warehouse here in Morgantown to put more Nuka-Cola memorabilia in. Okay, so let's head upstairs here, past this Eta Psi Protectron, past this telescope pointing out a blackened window, an antique gramophone, and an antique sewing machine, and we find the signs that they were celebrating something here in the Eta Psi house. As to what exactly, we don't really know just yet, but the living room here is covered in confetti, streamers, and balloons. Interestingly enough, all of them are the exact same pieces of confetti, streamer, and balloons that we saw on Reclamation Day, but that also is not really all that surprising given that this is a Vault-Tec University party that took place here. We can head over here into the kitchen, and I'm probably going to take some of this food here because this character's probably going to start getting hungry soon. We got some spices and salt and pepper and aluminum cans, which I'm always going to pick up, and tin cans as well, which are also great pieces of loot. Nuka Cherry and Nuka-Cola. And that does it for the kitchen. We'll head upstairs now, to the next floor. We find a couple of bedrooms, and interestingly, I believe one of the only mechanical clocks that I've found in the game so far. And we know that it's a mechanical clock, because right here it stopped at 3:53 in the afternoon or morning, I guess, I don't really know. When most of the clocks in Appalachia are stopped at 9:47 a.m. from the day of the bombs on October 23rd, 2077. This is Judy Lowell's room. We'll come right back here in just a moment. But first we'll check out this other little room here. Now there are 4 bunk beds in here, and a single dresser that is just an end table with 4 small drawers in it. Seems that they were actually possibly storing their belongings in these suitcases, which goes to show why it is that Judy Lowell was hoping to get that room back from Lewis, because she's got a tiny little room herself, and this room is probably about the same size as Lewis's, so they could probably fit another 4 pledges in that room. But anyway, let's head into Judy Lowell's room now. It's fairly nondescript. She's got a little Vault-Tec University poster here on the wall. She has this diploma on the wall, which is oddly the same exact diploma you can find on the wall of the Overseer's parents' house, which makes me realize something about the Overseer that I'll have to get to in another video, but besides that, it is literally the exact same poster. It says that they successfully completed the nuclear fusion course and earned 56 points, which is exactly what the Overseer says. So, let's check out Judy's terminal, though. SI House, Chapter President Judy Lowell. Go at Pets. Personal Journal. A place to gather my thoughts. RoboBrain. I don't say this lightly, I nearly peed myself today. All was dark and quiet at the speakeasy, as expected, until I went to the back room and came face to face with a single giant eyeball and a floating brain. I ran straight back home until Lewis could explain to me what a General Atomics RoboBrain was doing in the cellar. He slipped a note under his door that said, "Need drink tester." I'm worried. How did he even get a hold of this technology? What's he using it for? When is he going to tell me what's going on? This is a very good question here, and we're about to learn a little bit more about it, but I believe this is a minor piece of an issue with this content. Bev. I just found out that Lewis's mother works at General Atomics. Not from him, of course. How we've known each other for this long without that coming up, I don't know. Anyways, that explains where he got the RoboBrain from. It doesn't explain how he got it. If it's safe, if it's legal. Lewis wouldn't endanger the rest of us, right? Bev himself isn't so bad, but I can't have word getting out about him. Not until I know everything. Gosh, I just don't even know if I have time to investigate this. So this does really raise some good questions here, because how is it that they managed to get this RoboBrain? I'll say this, that Bev is my favorite NPC in Fallout 76 so far. And that's just ahead of the Mayor of Grafton, which I just realized the comedy of the Mayor of Grafton constantly looking for bribes. But along with that, Mr. Fluffy, Miguel Caldera's Protectron, those are my 3 favorite NPCs so far in the game. But how exactly did they get a hold of this thing? Because, I mean, that thing contains a human brain. Someone gave their life to become a drink tester in the basement of a tattoo parlor. From Fallout 4 and the Automatron DLC, we know that a lot of these people that gave up their brains were convicts, but that's not necessarily the case with all of them. And I will say that also that RoboBrains are not necessarily not found in commercial service. I mean, you do find one over at the Camden Park, which is also incredibly depressing to consider that someone gave up their life in order to hand out plushie toys for all of eternity. But, I don't know which. I think I'd rather be the drink tester than the plushie toy dispenser, but, anyway. New pledges. The new pledges are thrilled about the Nukashine initiative. They stayed up late to prepare the speakeasy for opening, And one even designed a professional label for us. I don't know if they would have joined the fraternity if not for all this. I don't know how to feel about it. I was excited about this at first, more excited than anyone, but I feel like it's spiraling out of control. I think it's too late to stop. The money is spent, the word is out, and everyone's depending on me to bring this to fruition. EdPets have always been the underdogs, and for the first time ever, we're on top of the school. How could I possibly let them down? It sounds like Judy felt trapped in the Nukashine initiative. She's on the hook for people's hopes and dreams now. Let's move on to the next one. Supply room. I had to lock the supply room at the speakeasy today. With everything that's going on in my mind these days, I'm bound to lose track of the password, so here it is. Shine. Ironic, right? If anyone finds out what Lewis has back there, what he's adding to the Nukashine recipe, it will be bad. I hope I can forget about it and put on a good face for everyone. Tonight's the big night. Nukashine's invited to the biggest party of the year, and for once, EdPets are too. If anything goes wrong, I'll take the fall for them. I know this can't last forever, but it'll be worth it, right? Soon enough, we'll see what the last ingredient of Nukashine is, and what it is that seems to have been causing Judy's concerns. There are time issues with this content that are starting to mount, but we'll come back to that soon enough. We have the password to the storeroom now, but let's read everything here. Pledge Guidelines. Edisi Epsilon Tau Greek Society Pledge Guidelines. Creating EdPets. I've been asked some questions regarding Article 4, Section 5D of our chapter bylaws, so for the sake of clarity, I've decided to briefly outline our fraternity acceptance and initiation guidelines. All potential Edisi pledges must maintain an average GPA of 3.85 at all times, currently have a chemistry-related major or minor, be actively involved in at least 2 forms of community outreach, love board games, just a little joke, this isn't a real requirement, absolutely no hazing or mistreatment of any sort. All members are expected to fully comply with official university policy. Be courteous and kind. Treat pledges as you would like to be treated. Be helpful. If a pledge is struggling in coursework, offer to be a study buddy. This is obviously a very general overview, so please review the chapter bylaws for more detailed information. Thank you for your attention. Go EdPets. This gives us a very clear distinction and difference between the EdPet house and the Pie house. On to the Nukashine initiative. Edisi Epsilon Tau Greek Society, the Nukashine Initiative. Greeting EdPets. I'd like to address several questions about when we can clear brewing equipment from the garage and restore the chemistry lab. Well, I have wonderful news. We've leased a cellar near campus where our dreams will soon be realized. Introducing the Nukashine, a super trendy speakeasy and distillery where we'll now brew our signature drink. It will even have a hidden Nuka-Cola door. I know this little project has grown into anything but little. I know that it has been a great distraction and hurt our studies, but why else do we go to class but to succeed in life? Nukashine has real buzz around campus, and we're just getting started. Lewis recently stumbled on top of a secret ingredient that will make our moonshine the best alcoholic beverage ever made. Truly exciting times are ahead. Join me in the commons room tonight for a truly epic party. I might just break out the confetti and streamers. Okay, so again, there are multiple time issues that I've uncovered so far with this content, but we will go over all possible contradictions and lore issues at the very end of this video. So let's head back out of the EdPet house and back over to the Nukashine. Alright, and we're back. So we just head right back through the machine, back down the stairs, through the speakeasy, the back room, and we can now enter the password we got in the distillery access terminal. Enter password Shine. Welcome back, Judy. Security door control. Let's find out what they were hiding. Nuclear waste. So let's grab these little canisters. There we go. And check out Nukashine Ingredients Part 2. 3 nuclear material. That's the second half of the Nukashine ingredients list. Now we still need razor grain and corn because I've already got boiled water on me and wood as well. But it does give us a nice location to get everything we need right down here at a little farm just south of Morgantown. So we'll head down there together. And we have arrived at the farm. A lot of good stuff here. We've even got starlight berries, mute fruit, We got soot flowers. There are some glowing fungus here. But let's just get what we need for the moment. We need 5 wild corn. Well, 5 corn. Wild corn gives you corn. That's lucky, because in Fallout 4 it gave you wild corn. So there we go. We got 5 corn. Oh yeah, they've even got some rhododendrons here. And then we need razor grain, which they've got this interesting little version of razor grain, which I wish they would allow us to place at our camps, because it's so tiny and doesn't take up so much room and doesn't look like crap when you place it on a hill. And there we go. 5 razor grain, 5 corn. You need 2 boiled water, which if you don't have it, you can come right over here to this pump. Pump out 4 dirty water and cook it into 2 boiled water here at the cooking station. But we've got everything we need, so let's head back over to the Nukashine. Alright, so here we are, back with Bev. So, let's craft ourselves a Nukashine.
I'm too shy to say I'm positively pleased to see you.
Pleased to see you too. Okay, spirits. And let's make a fermentable Nukashine. There we go. And we have to use, well, we don't have to use, but we can use this right here, this flash fermenter, but before we can use it, we have to read this warning. Warning! Experimental equipment. Since Nukashine is selling out so quickly, Lewis is working on a flash fermenter to age it faster. It's not ready yet, so for your own safety, please do not touch it unless you're Lewis. I'm serious about this warning. I nearly lost an eye and I wasn't even operating it. From Judy. Now, this is a one-time use piece of equipment. Add Nukashine and it explodes. But it did flash ferment it, so it worked the one time. So... Lewis is a scientist that fits in very well in the Fallout universe in that he creates very dangerous equipment that does really cool stuff.
I'm on a toot and I wouldn't mind the company.
Let's give Bev this Nukashine.
Do I smell me a Nukashine?
You do.
You just put that in my imbibing chamber and... Oh, wow! Now that is a drink. Excuse me. Here's the report. Quality rating, forceful, side effects, illness, addiction, permanent brain damage. You know, the list goes on. It's not great, but you get the idea. Your customers will be raving if you serve this drink. What? I don't know. But do not sweat the details. Would you come back tomorrow and help me with my daily quality test? I got plenty more recipes to try out.
And that completes Wasted on Nukashine and unlocks the fermenter and brewing station. Alright, we can now go and install the brewing station and fermenter in a camp just to show you exactly what it takes. Luckily my camp is local. Alright, so it's a foggy morning here at this character's camp. Let's head on inside. See if we can't place these crafting stations. The brewing station, which takes 6 aluminum, 4 ceramic, 12 copper, 6 fiberglass, 3 glass, 4 screws, and 4 steel. And the fermenter, which takes 2 steel and 2 wood. The interesting thing to know is that, again, the flash fermenter is a one-time thing. The fermenter here will age things slowly over time, and any object you place inside of it actually goes into your camp inventory. So if you've got a full camp inventory, you cannot make use of your fermenter until you pull some items out of it. But let's go over here where I have planted some of these pieces of corn and razor grain. For some reason, not all of these plants are working, or they weren't before at least, so hopefully everything's grown now. Looks like it has. Got razor grain and corn. And so now we can head back over inside. I'm gonna close that door to keep all that fog out, you know, because there's no glass there. But anyway, brew here. And we can make beer, which takes 2 boiled water, 1 corn, 2 razor grain, and 2 wood. Spirits including bourbon, Nukashine, rum, vodka, and whiskey. Bourbon takes 3 boiled water, 3 corn, 2 razor grain, 5 wood. Nukashine takes 2 boiled water, 5 corn, 3 nuclear material, 1 Nuka-Cola Quantum, 5 razor grain, and 5 wood. Rum takes 3 boiled water, 3 snaptail reeds, 2 sugar, and 5 wood. Vodka takes 3 boiled water, 2 glowing resin, 3 razor grain, and 5 wood. And whiskey has the same recipe as bourbon, and that's because bourbon is a form of whiskey, just like scotch is a form of whiskey. But then there's also wine, which takes 3 boiled water, 2 tar berries, and 3 wild blackberries, and 5 wood. So, let's just show you how this works real quick. I'll brew up a bottle of bourbon, and a bottle of whiskey, and a bottle of beer. Then we head on over to the fermenter. We put in the fermentable drinks. And over time, these will become alcoholic beverages. Before then, they just have the ability to give you rads and a disease. So we definitely want to leave those there to age. Alright, so that pretty much does it for the quest portion of this and for just the basic utility of brewing. And of course also placing these stations here. So let's start talking about the lore implications of this and the time implications about this, because there are some issues with this content that we need to discuss. We'll start with the 2 potential time issues in this piece of content. I mentioned them before, and it's come time to focus on them one at a time. I'll list them and then we'll try to reconcile them. First, there appears to be evidence that the eviction party, which was scheduled on a Sunday, was ended by the Great War, which took place on a Saturday. Secondly, there seems to have been evidence that the Edpets were celebrating the opening of the Nukashine Speakeasy when it had opened at least a month before then. The first potential conflict comes from the final eviction notice issue date, the eviction party invitation, and the day of the Great War. Because we find a bottle of Nukashine at the Pie House, and the recording that says that there was Nukashine at the Pie House, we know that the Pie House eviction party took place. But what day was it? The invitation poster listed the date of the party to be this Sunday, and the eviction notice found in the foyer of the Pie House was dated October 20th, 2077. If you look at a calendar, October 20th, 2077 is the Wednesday before Saturday, October 23rd, 2077, the day of the Great War, which would make this Sunday on the eviction party notice, Sunday, October 24th, the first day of the post-apocalypse. The name Pi Mu's Wild Eviction Party, I believe, is actually a joke. From the Pi Kappa Mu September 2077 newsletter, it's clear that the Pi Mu's had a severe misconception about the ability of the Pi House to separate from the university and therefore to just stay open. Life did not go on as usual for the students of the VTU after the bombs, so I do not believe that the party post-dated the war. Judy Lowell even wrote a journal entry on the day of the party entitled The Supply Room, in which she writes, "Tonight's the night," and Nukashine has been invited to the biggest party of the year. We know she means the eviction party when she said biggest party of the year, because when emailing Ted Dorfman at the Pi Kappa Mu house in the message Nukashine, she explicitly said that the Pi Kappa Mu eviction party was going to be the event of the year. Therefore, if we assume that the party took place on a Sunday and did not take place after the bombs, the Pi Kappa Mu eviction party preceded the final eviction notice on October 20th. The date of the eviction party would then be October 17th and would likely have been the final catalyst for the final eviction notice that arrived the following Wednesday. This interpretation raises the question, though, of how the pledges in the basement were made to drink Nukashine and get handcuffed to the pipe where they remained when the bombs hit Appalachia. In Judy Lowell's message to Ted Dorfman entitled Nukashine, she asked Ted Dorfman to nail down the plans for transferring Nukashine to the Pie House for the party, and says, "Lewis won't speak another word to me until we've scheduled a date." Which makes me think that the Nukashine the pledges were made to drink was delivered the day of the party, and given that you find a bottle of Nukashine on Ted Dorfman's desk, it makes me think that they had some left over from the eviction party, thus the pledges were not necessarily made to drink Nukashine on the day of the eviction party itself. The Pi Mu's were said to party every day, so the clear evidence of the party that preceded the deaths of the party attendees could have taken place any night. Thus, the final initiation of the pledges found dead in the laundry room would have taken place Friday, October 22nd, 2077, and they were still there in the laundry room the next morning at 9:47 a.m. when the bombs fell. The pledge who left the holotape, who said everyone was fine at first, well, until they weren't. That sound, I'll never forget that damn sound. I believe everyone was fine until the severe radiation poisoning killed them, and that sound was the bombs or potentially the death sounds of the people in the next room. I've seen an interpretation of the Pi Kappa Mu eviction party with all the skeletons there being that people died of alcohol overdoses. I don't believe that that's the case. for multiple reasons. First of all, we drank an entire growler of the stuff and we're still alive. Certainly, we blacked out and woke up in the mire, but we didn't die. And these are college students that seem to have been known for drinking quite a bit. Along with that, we do know that this beverage was full of nuclear waste. I think what we can assume is that these people drank a bunch of this beverage and passed out the night before the bombs and were still sleeping there with nuclear waste inside them when suddenly radiation levels skyrocketed. The one man in the basement who hadn't drunk the nuclear waste-laden beverage survived, although probably slowly succumbing to radiation poisoning, as he even had to cut through his wrist to try to get out of the handcuffs. He subsequently died of blood loss, but that's my interpretation of things. I don't believe that it was alcohol poisoning. I believe that it was the bombs that killed the people there. And I believe this for another reason as well, and that is the eviction notice was placed on the foyer table. There's a skeleton right next to that table in the foyer. There's another skeleton in the entrance hallway right next to the foyer. And there are multiple skeletons in the next room, meaning that they would have been corpses lying there when the university came with their own keys, because it's their property, to deliver that notice, and they entered the building and just left the corpses there for the next 3 days to rot. I don't believe that that happened. And the fact of the matter is that the party happened on a Sunday, and again, I don't believe that it happened after the war, because that wouldn't make any real sense. But let's get on to the other time discrepancy. And that is the party supplies that you find in the Eta Psi Epsilon Tau house. The message Judy wrote to her own Greek society, entitled The Nukashine Initiative, introduces the Ed Pets to the Nukashine speakeasy when she says, "I have wonderful news. We've leased a cellar near campus where our dreams will soon be realized. Introducing the Nukashine, a super trendy speakeasy and distillery where we'll now brew our own signature drink. It will even have a hidden Nuka-Cola door." She later goes on to say, "Join me in the common room tonight for a truly epic party. I might just break out the confetti and streamers." So it seems that when they had parties that she deemed significant, she would break out confetti and streamers. When we arrive in the Eta Psi Epsilon Tau house, there are balloons, confetti, and streamers all over the place. This, combined with the morning time period of the apocalypse, might lead one to believe that the Nukashine Initiative message was written on the day before the bombs, meaning the Nukashine Speakeasy introduction party took place the night of October 22nd, 2077, but in the Pi Kappa Mu September 2077 newsletter, Ted Dorfman says, "Look, we all know the Ed Pets are total loser eggheads, but some of them are pretty cool, especially the ones that just opened a new speakeasy near campus, but they won't tell me where it is or how to get in until you guys stop being jerks to them." So again, that was September, a month before, and the speakeasy was already open. Therefore, we can assume that the Nukashine speakeasy was open at the latest in September, before the party that left the streamers and the confetti behind in October. Because of that, we might assume that the party paraphernalia at the Ed Pet house is unrelated to the opening of the Nukashine. I don't know that that's the case, though. When reading the Distillery Supply Access Terminal's entry, Restrictions Supply Room, we get a view of two different versions of the Nukashine speakeasy. One version is the version of the speakeasy that existed with a few Ed Pets setting the place up to work as a distillery, namely Judy, Lowell, and Lewis, who toiled long hours to get it up and running. The other version is the business version, the speakeasy that opened to a select public with an opening event, the type of an event that Ed Pets would celebrate with a party for themselves. The label on the bottles of Nukashine lists the creation year at 2076, leading me to believe that the Ed Pets were talking up their speakeasy and sharing samples of their signature drink for months before its public opening. It's clear that Judy was terrified of what might happen if people discovered that Lewis had been lacing the drink with nuclear material, a reasonable fear, and she would have been likely to keep that information to the smallest number of people possible. Thus, the entire process and location was in all likelihood a relatively closely guarded secret. It's also entirely possible that the Ed Pets were just having a party the day before the bombs dropped, but I think it's more likely they were celebrating the new success of their drink and their speakeasy. Now that we've gotten the potential time disputes out of the way, let's go into lore contradictions, ranging from smallest to largest. 1. The recipe for Nukashine includes boiled water. This seems unlikely, as when the recipe was created there was safe-to-drink water coming out of the tap. Distilled or deionized water would be more likely than boiled water, not because they would be more likely to be part of the recipe, but because boiling the water would not have been necessary before the Great War. 2. The recipe for Nukashine also includes wood for fuel. This is just as unlikely as boiled water, as when you cross the landscape of Appalachia, you find propane or natural gas tanks all over the place. There might have been a gasoline crisis before the war, but I've never seen evidence of a shortage of heating/cooking gas. Using wood as fuel is especially odd in the enclosed space of the cellar of Big Al's tattoo parlor. 3. The recipe for Nukashine includes razor grain. Razor grain is a mutated grain likely to have previously been wheat or barley or some other non-mutated grain. That a pre-war recipe includes it is as odd as finding those rad scorpion recipes in the test vault of Vault-Tec University that I've found in the past. Lastly, the biggest issue of all with this content is the inclusion of Nuka-Cola Quantum in a recipe for anything that was not developed by the Nuka-Cola Corporation. When going over this content, I originally considered this to be a big lore mistake by Bethesda, but upon further consideration that they, meaning Bethesda, created the lore regarding Nuka-Cola Quantum, I came to a different conclusion. Well, before October 23rd, 2077, your average American wouldn't have had about 0% chance of coming across Nuka-Cola Quantum outside of the Nuka-Cola Corporation. I mean, Lewis is not an average American. How many other average people can you point to that have connections enough to obtain a robo-brain? It is my contention that Lewis's family has high-level military-industrial complex connections, ones that not only gained him access to a robo-brain, but also gave him access to Nuka-Cola Quantum for some time prior to the public launch. The military had feelers in Nuka-Cola, with the goal of using John Caleb Bradburton's beverageers to produce weapons technology, including tech that utilized the unique isotope that makes Nuka-Cola Quantum glow fluorescent blue. I believe that Lewis used his family connections to gain access to a supply of Quantum, but I also believe that Nukashine could easily have started off using standard Nuka-Cola and changed over to Quantum sometime in the past few months. Well, the past few months being the few months before the end of the world. When Judy Lowell announced the Nukashine to her etpeth, she says, "Lewis recently stumbled onto a top-secret ingredient that will make our moonshine the best alcoholic beverage ever made." Now, it's possible that she was referring to the nuclear waste that Lewis was adding, but I contend that she is referring to Quantum. I don't think Judy would have felt comfortable even mentioning the nuclear waste, even as a passing reference. If she was to leak the identity of any ingredient mentioned, I have to believe that it was Quantum. While Quantum will make your urine glow blue, it's definitely not the most dangerous ingredient in the drink, which is really saying something. Let's finish by talking about the people most closely involved with the Nukashine. We can talk about Lewis, the genius member of the etpeths. As part of my Fallout 76 transcription project, I had already copied all the notes and terminal entries from the Kanawha Nuka-Cola plant in the early days of Fallout 76, so I was surprised the other day when I found a new note there. One left by Lewis in the taste testing area of the plant. This note in particular is a taste testing feedback form. Nuka-Cola beta test feedback form. Name of sample NCX13-GP01. On a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the most optimal, please rate your experience with the sample you tested. Intensity 3.74, mouthfeel 5.2, acidity 0.4, aroma 2.2, flavor profile 4.275, sugariness 9.1, metalness 7.66, aftertaste 1.9, craveability 0.17, overall taste 3, overall experience 3.7645. Additional comment. Greetings, soda artists. It is I, Lewis, the #1 Nuka-Cola aficionado in the world, aside from perhaps Mr. Bradburton himself. Regarding formula NCX13-GP01, I found it to be an incredibly lackluster attempt at altering what was already a perfected original formula. Get back to the drawing board. Unfortunately, due to an error in the R&D lab terminal having copied entries on 2 of its sodas, it's not possible to know from the sample name what version of Nuka-Cola he was testing. Potentially it was either Nuka-Cola Quantum or Nuka-Cola Black. That's the coffee-flavored version. The ridiculousness of a taste testing score with an accuracy in the 10,000ths aside, it's clear that Lewis was a Nuka-Cola fanatic on par with Sierra Petrovita from Fallout 3. Lewis wanted a warehouse to hold more Nuka-Cola memorabilia, but he needed money. His response was to brew a toxic beverage to sell to students, guaranteed to cause serious health issues. He needed infrastructure to make this happen, so he enlisted the help of Judy Lowell, and together they founded the Nukashine Speakeasy in the basement of a failing tattoo parlor. People were effectively guaranteed to die from this drink at some point, so there's no way this business could have lasted long. Eventually someone would have died, the speakeasy would be investigated, and it would become known what Lewis was putting in the drink. The deal they made with Alice Lovelace was doomed to fail, ruining her chances at retirement. This is not to say that she went into this unintentionally blind. She even told her staff, "If you're wondering what they're selling down there, I don't know and I don't care." So it's not that she's faultless here, but it's clear that her life would also have been ruined. Lewis does not hold exclusive blame for the Nukashine debacle, as Judy Lowell is absolutely a part of the problem here too. I don't blame her to the extent that I do Lewis though, as it seems that she was swept up in the current of Nukashine, and it seems that she didn't know a way out of it. She knew what they were doing was wrong, but for the first time the Ed Pets were the top dogs, the ones with power. And new pledges were joining, investing their time in something that she had championed, and it spun out of control. She was devoured by it. Lewis was willing to ruin the lives of those around him and potentially kill his customers for the potential of making a buck. And this buck he would have used to fund his obsession with soda. Some illegalities are easier to forgive than others, but once Judy knew what Lewis was making his magnum opus with, she had an obligation to step forward and put a stop to it. I've started keeping a list of the evilest people in Appalachia. I'm going to give Lewis the pejorative of the poisoner of Morgantown, and I've currently placed him at number 5 on my list behind Harland Elliott, Olivia Rivers, David Thorpe, and Thomas Eckhart. That should do it for this video. This has been the Resolute Cartographer. If you want to see more videos on Fallout 76, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to get notifications as soon as those videos become available, hit the notification button. If you liked the video, hit the like button. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them and I'll try to get back to you. I hope to see everybody again next time. Thanks for watching.